This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin tonight with breaking news. We now know the name of the victim who was shot and killed outside a restaurant and nightclub over the weekend. Fargo police identified the man as 28-year-old Dominique Dwayne McNair. Police say he was an employee of the Africa restaurant and nightclub. The shooting happened around 2 yesterday morning in the parking lot. Eyewitnesses say there were about 10 shots fired. Police say they are still investigating. Last night, people living in the area said they saw 2 vehicles leave the scene shortly after the shooting. But just a short time ago, police say no one has been arrested and no suspect vehicle has been identified. 2 Fargo house fires are now being investigated as arson, and investigators are on the search for suspects. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley joins us live now near downtown Fargo. Bailey, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Andrea, I'm here at the Hamilton apartment complexes here on the 300 block of 7th Avenue North. And this is where fire crews say that they responded just after 6 a.m. on Monday, May 10th. And they had to go up to the 2nd floor. That's where several people, they say, were trapped due to that fire. And then just a few hours later, and about a mile down the road, fire crews say that they were called to the 1400 block of 2nd Avenue North. And that's where they say that a building that was on the home's property was on fire. It was a second alarm fire. And although that these 2 fires are in very close proximity and happened within hours of each other, Fargo fire crews do say that at this time it does not appear that they are related, and they do say that this remains a very active and open investigation. If you have any information there, you're urged to call Fargo police. For now, live in downtown Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
All right, thanks, Bailey. Fire officials also say a deck fire on May 11th at 6126 24th Street South was caused by improperly discarded smoking materials. Damage is estimated at $105,000. A Mapleton man is cleaning up this afternoon after his garage caught fire. Multiple crews responded to the fire at 501 2nd Street just after 1 p.m., including the West Fargo Fire Department. Fire Chief Dan Fuller says the damage was contained to the garage. There were some concerns about ammunition stored in the garage, but crews were able to knock down the fire before it became an issue.
You know, I'm very proud of the work they did before we got here. They definitely saved this gentleman's house and all his belongings.
No one was injured, but power went out for a few houses on the block. There's no word yet on what caused that fire. Meanwhile, 2 people are displaced after a fire at an apartment complex in Dilworth this morning. The fire was confined to 2 apartments on the 3rd floor, and crews were able to quickly put it out. No one was hurt. There's no word yet on what started that fire. We've got the sun, the warm temps, and the wind. Let's find out if it will settle down this evening. Hutch?
Andrea, thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Some beneficial rain for the western Dakotas. We'll get into that in the main portion of weather. But for now, pretty quiet conditions in our area. A couple of lightning strikes detected here in central North Dakota. And as we take you in the Minot area from Minot down towards Max, we do have a couple of thunder showers pushing in to central and north central portions of North Dakota this evening. We'll stay dry in Fargo-Moorhead. It will be windy, as you see the camera behind us shaking in Devil's Lake. Temperatures slipping into the 60s by bedtime tonight. Similarly, we're going to cool down fairly quickly with dry air in Grand Forks. On a quiet and breezy night, those winds should subside a bit at sunset. Coming up, we're going to tally up some of the tape as far as rainfall amounts out west and how that may have impacted the drought, and we'll look ahead towards more rain in your forecast this week here in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Hutch. Fargo police want to let you know about a couple of high-risk sex offenders in the area. Patrick Roy Moore is now living at 726 College Street North. He was convicted of gross sexual imposition, and one of his victims was a girl who was 14 at the time. Also, Michael Stephen Thiel is now living at 307 7th Avenue North in Fargo. Police say he was convicted of sexual assault in 2013. The victim was a girl who was 15 at the time of the incident. High-risk sex offenders are most likely to reoffend. We are learning more about the rollover crash that happened on Friday in Fargo. It happened before 7 p.m. Police say a 31-year-old man turned left from the center lane of 10th Street North toward 1st Avenue North and didn't see the other vehicle in the left lane. The man hit the other vehicle, causing it to roll. He was cited for improper turn and no insurance. The Hubbard County Sheriff's Office is looking for the driver who they say was involved in a fatal hit and run. At around 4:20 last Thursday morning, there was a report of an unconscious man lying in the road on Hubbard County Road 101, just south of Highway 2. The victim was identified as 27-year-old Dominic Cloud. If you have any information, call the Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen, 218-732-3331. Tomorrow marks 1 year since George Floyd's death, and Governor Tim Walz is asking Minnesotans for a moment of silence. It will take place at 1 in the afternoon, lasting for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. That's the same amount of time prosecutors say Floyd spent under the knee of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Meanwhile, Black Lives Matter FARGO-MOORHEAD will be holding a celebration at Island Park tomorrow to remember George Floyd. The group will be meeting in front of the Island Park pool from 6 to 7:30. A disabled veteran from Moorhead says he was duped by a Republican operative into running for former Representative Colin Peterson's congressional seat. Kevin Shores said he assumed the person recruiting him to run was from the grassroots Legalized Cannabis Party, but he was wrong. That person was Kip Christensen, a GOP strategist who was on the payroll of the Republican National Committee. Shores says Christensen deceived him into running to siphon votes away from Democratic candidates. Christensen denies misrepresenting himself. Peterson went on to lose the general election to Republican Michelle Fischbach. The numbers of COVID cases and deaths nationwide have dropped to the lowest level in nearly a year. And with the number of vaccinated adults on the rise, the government is pressing to meet a July 4th target set by President Biden. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
As we head toward the Memorial Day holiday, growing signs of a return to normal life. With COVID cases now at their lowest levels since last June, beaches, sporting events, and restaurants are filling up. More than 60% of adult Americans have had at least one vaccine dose, though it remains unclear if that will climb to President Biden's goal of 70% by July 4th.
As the perception of risk declines, people are going to say, well, I might as well wait till the fall to get vaccinated.
In a critical step toward normal, the mayor of New York announced the nation's largest school district will end remote learning this fall, bringing everyone back in person.
We've made vaccination available everywhere. It's time. It's really time to go full strength now.
But experts warn across the country it will take work to re-engage students, many of whom have fallen dramatically behind.
We have to go knock on doors, sit on porch steps, spend time, and that engagement has to start now.
That as the CDC is investigating a very small number of cases of vaccinated teenagers developing a heart condition called myocarditis. The CDC saying the cases may be entirely unrelated to vaccination and the symptoms have been mild.
We're weighing risk-benefit of vaccinating our children to get them back into school so they can get to a normal childhood versus not. I think every time vaccines will win.
Signs of winning against the virus as America prepares to kick off the summer of 2021.
As vaccinations increase, the CDC says fully vaccinated Americans can now largely skip getting tested for COVID-19. Back at home in Cass County, vaccinations started almost 2 weeks ago for adolescents, and 35% of those ages 12 to 15 got their first dose. Here's a breakdown of those who received the first dose. Nearly 45% between the ages of 19 to 39, nearly 63% between the ages of 40 and 59, a little over 74% for ages 60 to 79, and nearly 78% for 80 years and older. Here are the numbers for those who have completed the vaccine series. Nearly 30% for teenagers 12 to 19, nearly 41% for ages 19 to 39, nearly 59% for ages 40 to 59, a little over 71% for ages 60 to 79, and 75% for 80 years and older. Nearly 57% of Cass County has received the first shot of COVID, and nearly 53% have completed the series. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, Governor Walz announced today that 2.5 million people in the state have completed the vaccination series. The milestone comes as 64% of Minnesotans ages 16 and up have gotten at least one dose of the vaccine. Plus, new COVID-19 cases, positivity rates, and hospitalizations continue to steadily decline. According to a New York Times analysis, new cases in Minnesota have dropped 49% in the last 14 days, which is faster than all but 6 other states. A CDC committee is investigating reports of heart inflammation in a small number of people who received a COVID-19 vaccine. They say it mostly occurred in adolescents and young adults, especially boys. Also, the condition occurs more often following the second dose and typically within 4 days after vaccination. Most cases appear to be mild. The CDC has yet to determine whether there is any evidence that the vaccine caused the heart condition, but an investigation is still underway. West Fargo Public School students may have the option of learning virtually next year. The district is exploring the option in the school board meeting tonight. As for the other districts in the FM area, Fargo Public Schools will not be offering a virtual option, but they are exploring a partnership with the North Dakota Center for Distance Education for families who may need it. Moorhead is also looking into keeping the virtual option based on guidance they received from the state. The meeting in West Fargo starts at 5:30. As you can tell, the show looks a little different today. We are in a temporary new studio because the one we usually use is being revamped. Some very exciting things are coming here at Valley News Live. Dogs may now become a doctor's best friend. Still ahead, the results from training COVID-sniffing dogs.
And a gorgeous start to the day in the Fargo area. Sun dancing off the clouds. Temperatures on the warm side. We hit those mid-80s in Fargo, even warmer down to the south. Coming up, we're going to update how this weekend's rain may impact this. We'll look ahead towards more rain and tell you where that's tracking. Coming up right after this.